When Mr. Tanaka's son told him they wanted to move back home, he didn't hesitate. "Of course," he said almost immediately. After his wife passed away 3 years earlier, the house had grown too quiet. The ticking clock felt louder. The evenings stretched longer. So when his son and daughter-in-law suggested living together to save money and support each other, he felt grateful. He thought he was the lucky one. A full house again. Shared dinners. Laughter in the hallway. A second chance at family life. He truly believed this was going to be the beginning of something beautiful. He didn't know that living under the same roof would test him in ways he never expected. At first, it was just little things. Shoes left by the doorway, but not aligned the way he liked. Dishes soaking too long in the sink. Laundry folded differently. He told himself it didn't matter. Different generation, different habits. But the small things started to pile up. His daughter-in-law, Kuraki, was cheerful and energetic, but also absent-minded. She tried cooking. The rice was undercooked. The soup was too salty. She laughed it off. Mr. Tanaka forced a smile. In his mind, he compared everything to how his late wife used to run the house orderly, precise, almost effortless. And slowly, without realizing it, disappointment began to grow. The tension wasn't loud. There were no arguments. Just silence. Mr. Tanaka started spending more time in his room. Kuraki started avoiding the kitchen when he was around. He noticed she sometimes called him old man, jokingly in casual conversation. She didn't mean disrespect. It was playful, modern. But to him, it felt strange. He didn't correct her. He didn't confront her. He simply observed. Inside, he wondered if he had made a mistake. He had imagined harmony. Instead, he felt like a guest in his own home. And yet, every time he saw his son smile beside his wife, he held back his frustration. Because more than anything, he valued his son's happiness. The shift didn't happen dramatically. It happened on an ordinary Tuesday. Mr. Tanaka woke up early and walked past the living room. He saw something he hadn't noticed before. Yumi had fallen asleep on the couch. On the coffee table was a handwritten list. Learn Dad's miso recipe. Wake up earlier. Don't forget to say thank you. Try harder. He stopped. He stood there longer than he expected. For the first time, he realized something uncomfortable. She was trying. Maybe not perfectly. Maybe not traditionally. But sincerely. That was the moment something softened inside him. He began to pay attention, not to what she did wrong, but to what she did right. And he noticed something else. Whenever his son looked at her, there was warmth in his eyes. Security. Partnership. That kind of love that lasts. Mr. Tanaka asked himself a question that changed everything. Was he judging her by old standards? Or by the values that truly mattered? Because if the most important thing was love, and she clearly loved his son, then maybe he had been focusing on the wrong details. He made a quiet decision. Instead of correcting, he would guide. Instead of comparing, he would teach. He showed her how to measure rice by touch, not by cup, how to balance salt with a pinch of sugar, how to taste before serving. She listened carefully. She asked questions. She wrote notes. For the first time, the kitchen didn't feel like a battlefield of expectations. It felt like a bridge. Mr. Tanaka once thought he was fortunate, simply because his son lived with him. Now he understood something deeper. He was fortunate because they were willing to grow together. Family is rarely perfect. Generations clash. Habits collide. Standards differ. But beneath all of that, there is usually something far more important in tension. Before we judge someone's imperfections, maybe we should ask, are they careless or are they still learning? Are they disrespectful or simply different? And are we holding on to expectations that no longer serve the love in front of us? Sometimes the peace we're searching for doesn't come from changing others. It comes from changing how we see them.